Hi, welcome to Hunt, Sleep, Fish. We're here with Lieutenant Colonel Bohlman of the Oklahoma National Guard. And as you can see, we're doing some long range shooting. Stick around, we're going to give you some pointers. We'll be right back. You ready for Hunt, Sleep, Fish?
We had the dirt moved back up at one time. At one time there was a gradual slope, and then we got a bunch of rain and it collapsed, and we've had probably 5 targets out of commission for probably 10 years, so we're getting that straightened out. Anyway, let's go get a target.
We're at the end of this range. How far back are we from the point where we'll be shooting from?
Well, depending on where your zero, do you have a pretty good zero right now?
300 yards.
Okay. Well, we can start at the 300 if you want to and work back from there. The covered firing point back there is 600 yards. So that's probably as far as we'll need to go.
And we're going to be using steel targets?
No. They'll be paper targets.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go put one up.
All right.
The way this works is this fits into these grooves right here. Stick it in there, and now reach down there and drop the chain.
Where?
And then slowly lift the target up. Now the way this is supposed to work is you have a guy in a pit with a radio, and the shooter shoots a shot. The guy pulls it, plugs it, and runs it back up so you can real easily see from all these distances back here where you're hitting.
I see.
So it's going to be a little tougher for us today.
I bet it's neat being down here in this pit with those bullets flying over your head.
Well, they break the sound barrier. You need to wear ear protection down here.
Really?
And also eye protection, because every once in a while a plastic spindle will get hit and they almost explode. And then every once in a while we will have a bullet come down in here and hit the, if you have a bullet that just has terrible trajectory, every once in a while you'll see a pock mark on the steel. And it's not real good to be down here when that kind of stuff's going on.
So everybody does their shooting and then you call in and the people come filing in and check the targets?
No.
Or are they actually standing down
You
here?
actually have a target puller down there when bullets are going overhead. So
that makes life interesting, doesn't it?
it is pretty interesting. You definitely want ear protection and eye protection while you're doing that.
All right. I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
Let's see if we can find a target puller.
All right.
Well, while they're back there shooting, I'm going to be running the target for them. Now, I can see where you've got the different color stickers.
Pasters.
Pasters, what to call them?
Right.
What is this here? Is that just showing you where you hit?
Right, that
if
is
it's in this area?
that's a spindle and a spotter.
Okay.
Okay, now here's how it works. If I shoot and I happen to hit into black,
Yes.
okay, you're gonna push
Stick it right there, and
it
that
in,
shows you.
yeah, and then you're gonna run it up.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna take another shot, then you're gonna pull it out.
And-
You're gonna paste the black paster on the black.
Sure, that's easy enough.
If it happens to hit out in the white,
Flip it around the other way.
so I can see it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And then it's just running it up and down as you guys need it.
Right.
And definitely want to have some ear protection.
Definitely ear protection, because that bullet, even at 600 yards, it's gonna be breaking the speed of sound, so
So
you have the
it's gonna be
sonic boom
loud.
going.
Okay.
You'll hear a crack, and then you hear a boom way back there.
We'll
so,
have to get the camera down here
yeah,
when that's happening,
yeah, that'll be
so
neat.
people can get an idea of what that's going
And
to
you
sound
also
like
want eye
coming through.
protection, because in the event that the spindle gets hit, they shatter.
Oh, you're leaving it on there then?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
every time.
Right. That's how we have holes in it.
I see, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Good
sounds
enough?
good. You guys going to go shoot, and I'm going to stick around here and get shot at.
Very good. It's exciting.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Well, we just set up here at the 200 yard. Colonel Bohlman, why are we starting right here?
Well, the biggest reason is because you see the 100-yard line. It's not mowed.
Well, it don't get much simpler than that.
Yep.
We're out here with these high-dollar, high-tech guns, and we started at the 200-yard mark because the 100-yard mark isn't mowed.
Always better to start closer. Right.
Right.
But there are chiggers and all kinds of stuff up there. We don't want to have anything to do with that.
Pretty simple. I can deal with that.
I'm going to get my 260 and shoot.
What kind of scope did you have on the your big rifle?
A Leupold Variex something 3, I believe. And this is a Leupold Variex 3 as well, on a 6XC. Oh, I'm sorry, on a 260.
And I know, if you'll notice, we're standing here by this flag. What's the flag signify for us here?
Well, the reason why we have to put it up on this range is to make sure that someone that's back at the 600-yard line knows that we're here. Because if you look back at the 600, you'll see that you can't see it.
Yeah.
You can't observe the 600, or you can't observe the 200 or the 300-yard lines from the 600-yard line. So we run the flag up to make sure someone back there doesn't start shooting over the top of us. That's happened to me out here before.
Has it really?
It has.
Is that by design or just by Mother Nature?
Oh, it's by design. We'd prefer being able to see all the points all the way down.
Okay.
But it just doesn't work out that way here.
Okay. One thing I wanted to point out was we're shooting this high dollar, and we'll get into what Colonel Bohlman's done with these rifles, but he's shooting a Leupold scope. We were shocked. Me and the cameraman were talking, and we expected to see some Russian crazy high-tech scope, and we're shooting Leupold scopes. So I'm impressed.
That's the only kind of optics for a rifle that I own is Leupold.
Really?
It's good stuff. And if you run over it with your truck, they'll send you a new one, you know. Can't beat their guarantee program.
Now, what were you doing there? Just dry firing it?
Yeah. Establishing first a natural point of aim. That's why I was moving all this stuff around. You want to be in a relaxed position where you don't have to strain to take the rifle right or left or up or down before you take your shot. That makes sense to you?
Yes, it does.
And once I did that, I dry fired a couple just to make sure I was where I wanted to be. And I wasn't moving a whole lot, so we'll go ahead and shoot one. Once again, this is a clean bore, so no bets. See anything?
I want to say, it's hard to see, but you're in the X.
Oh, really?
I think so. Has that scope been on that rifle?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's not a new scope. I was expecting it to be outside somewhere. It's right in the X. I think we can call that one good.
If I hit in the X ring, yeah, that's good.
Down here in the pit. Stay tuned for more hunt slit fish right after this.
What's the significance? You said it was a clean bore. What's that?
Well,
What's the deal about that?
If you shot your rifle several times, you've basically left traces of powder and copper cladding in your barrel, because barrels generally aren't real smooth, okay? Now, if you clean all that copper cladding out and dry it out as best you can, your bullet's going to go in slightly a different spot until it builds up the same amount of copper cladding as it did when you came off the range from zeroing. That's why you should always shoot your deer rifle a few times before you actually hunt. So you're right where you need to, and don't take it home and clean it, you know. Wait till after the season.
There you have it. Some more good news. We just got up here. We sighted at the 200-yard line because it was nice and smooth. Now we're at the 600-yard mark, and the target looks a lot smaller from up here.
Sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I noticed. Even looking through the spotting scope, it's really tough to see.
That looks pretty steady.
Now, what are you looking at here?
Well, I'm not sure what my come up is going to be, so I'm going to compare.
So in other words, how high you're going to hold it over the center line? Over the black dot?
Say that again?
In other words, how high you're going to hold it over the black dot?
No, I'm going to actually adjust my sights.
Oh, because it's a tactical scope. Okay.
Yeah, it has target knobs on it, target turrets, which allow you to actually put clicks on the gun instead of holding off one direction or the other.
Okay, and since you know your rounds, it's interesting because do you normally sight your rifles in at 200 yards, 300 yards?
For deer hunting?
Yeah.
If I'm deer hunting, 200 yards is plenty. You know, sometimes 300. Most deer are killed at 50, right?
Yeah.
But with this kind of stuff, we shoot 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, and 1,000. So you keep data books with that information in it, so you don't have to remember everything. It's an old Army trick.
That's why it's important to load your own rounds, because you know how they react.
Yeah. You at least know that they're all sound. See the trace?
Missed it. I flinched.
Oh, did you?
I didn't see the trace because I was flinching. This gun has a big concussion to it. And what size gun is this?
It's a 6XC, 6mm.
Okay.
It's basically a 22-250 that has the case is blown out a little bit, steeper shoulder angle, and it has a little bit bigger hole.
It sounds like a cannon.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the tin roof.
That's wild.
Yeah. See the trace?
I saw it. Saw the vapor trail on that one. You see it come in high and come down low. We're at 1,200 feet above sea level here. What happens if we go, say, 6,000 feet above?
Well, your air is not going to be as dense, so your bullet strike will be higher. Best bet is to always shoot a couple of shots wherever you're going to hunt, you know, if at all possible. Otherwise, they make software that will kind of estimate that stuff for you. If you can't shoot up there, you know.
Oh, I see.
Punch it in and see what the difference is going to be. If you're talking about a really long shot, that's when you start worrying about little things like that. A couple hundred yards is negligible.
At
Not an
600,
issue at all.
it's really neat to see the vapor trail come up and come. So what shooting position do you prefer?
Well, in the field, I always want to take a rest. Standing, you know, very worst case, because obviously, you know, no one can hold the rifle still. No one can hold the rifle perfectly still. I think the most important thing is, though, that is that you do the same thing every time. Every time you execute the shot, you hold the rifle with the same amount of firmness. You don't gorilla grip at one time and then kind of limp wrist at the next, because you'll have, you know, you'll observe different strikes of the round on paper or you know, on the animal, whatever you're shooting at.
That makes sense. That was one thing that I got out of this, doing this with you, was that was my main question was, you know, how do I hold the gun when I'm shooting? And pretty much your advice was pick a position, pick a way of holding the gun, and just do it consistently.
You know, it's also worth mentioning that that there are an awful lot of hunters that either don't take the time, don't have the time, don't have a range to come use, so they generally don't shoot the rifle. You know, it was on last year, so they drag it out of their safe and take it hunting without ever firing a shot. Sometimes to find out that, you know, they were way off because they bumped their sight, or, you know, they ran out of 150 grain ammo, so they went and grabbed what Walmart had, and it happened to be 180s. You know.
Yeah.
Another thing is you want to practice shooting in the position that you plan on shooting in the field. You know, if that's if you're shooting from a tree stand seated position, you can practice that dry firing a rifle. Dry firing doesn't hurt a center fire rifle like it hurts a rim fire. You know, you've always been told, don't dry fire your rifle, it'll mess it up. Well, it'll mess a 22 up, 22 rim fire up, or those new 17s, but it doesn't hurt a center fire at all. Matter of fact, that's how I get some of my best practice in, is just simply dry firing.
Yeah, you did set up and dry fire before you ever put a round in the magazine.
Right. I built a natural point of aim first, so I wasn't straining to get over to the target, and then dry fired a couple to make sure that everything was good, and then took the shot.
Great advice from an experienced shooter. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Tune in next week for more Hunt, Sleep, Fish, bringing the real outdoors to you.
I'm just fine with only trees around me. I'm just fine with only trees around me. I'm just fine with my mind. At sunrise, I'll be on the water, My wife thinks I'm crazy, and sometimes she complains if I'm in my right mind.
I do have one question for you. Do you think you can take Quigley?
With this thing, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, we figured that. We figured that.